Hello, my name is Okada, and welcome to Season 2 of Pixel Perfect! Yeah, maybe subtitle this, It's About Damn Time. I know I've been away for a little while, and if you're a returning viewer, I did promise you a Season 2, and we are going to deliver. We did intend to do it a little bit sooner, but we got sidetracked on some other projects. We have been active on this channel, and I hope that you've been watching the other things. But if you're just returning for Satisfactory, then welcome back. And if you are a new viewer, because you are new to Satisfactory or new as of 1.0, then also welcome, welcome. Now you'll notice that we are standing in a house. Our veteran viewers will remember that we always started the episodes on the porch of our home back in our starting area in part 1. Obviously this is not that house, and you'll notice there are some differences. Yeah, there are definitely going to be some differences here in this season. But this house is just in a creative test world, and it's going to help illustrate what to expect out of Season 2. But since we hopefully do have some new viewers, and I am a at least marginally experienced content creator, I am keenly aware that I have a very limited window to convince the new viewers that this series is going to be worth watching, and that this channel is going to be worth coming back to. And if you're a returning viewer, you're probably eager to find out what we're going to do anyway. So let's cut out the usual monologue, and if the new viewers will indulge me, a very short branding, and we'll jump straight into the plan for Season 2. So I figure the best way to start talking about the plan for Season 2 is to begin with the inspiration. Now, our returning viewers probably recognize this build, which of course was our aluminum production facility, affectionately dubbed the Illuminati. Now, as you can see, it's a very nice build. It's very pretty. And you know, I hear that those who have multiple children say, you're not allowed to pick a favorite. I think that if I had multiple children, I would have a favorite and I would know which one it is. And certainly, even with all the incredible builds we did in Season 1, unquestionably, this was my favorite. Now, of course, this wasn't our largest build. No, not by far. I mean, probably the Tower of Power there was our largest build. That was our 85 gigawatt diluted fuel power plant. That took about 100 hours to build, almost entirely on live stream. No, it wasn't our largest. It certainly wasn't our coolest, which I'd have to say was probably the towers in the mist. And it certainly wasn't our most complex, which might have been Santa's workshop or maybe the electromagnetic Fabergé egg. No, it wasn't any of those things, but it was my favorite. And the reason that this was my favorite was because it told the most complete story of any of our builds. As you can see, there's a very complex network here of roadways leading up to a parking lot with employee parking and employees in it. There is industrial waste out here for disposal. We have this nice little ways around it. It looks so good. We have industrial vehicles. You can see that they're going about their business. They have the walls back there where they would be taking the product in and out. And of course, those were false walls meant to hide the rail line that ran behind it. Because this was entirely meant for the presentation from the front. And it is just a beautiful build. All of the buildings have their own kind of theme, but the entire complex works together. You can certainly believe that this is a true real-life industrial complex. We have walking spaces for the employees. You can see little areas where there's a no-go for vehicles. All the arrows for the proper flow of traffic. Heck, we even have a guy over here. Let's find him. See, we got the guy that can't even park. You know, that's how it goes. And this was easily my favorite build. And it became the inspiration for Season 2. Because you see, in Season 2, we're going to convert the entire map into one big city. It's going to be a metropolis. Now, that doesn't mean skyscrapers everywhere. You can go to any content creator and look for gigantic buildings that have a lot of air in them. No, veteran viewers will hopefully remember that I follow a pretty strict philosophy of form and function. For example, over here, the water tower that supplies the entire facility is a legitimately working water tower. See what we did? We imported water bottles that would go up a conveyor, be converted into water, and then pumped to the rest of the facility. Now, not all this is running right now because this was a build from early access. Recipes have changed. The buildings aren't working right now, so don't pay attention to that. Now, what we're focused on is what our future is going to look like, and it's going to look like this. Guard shacks, roads going everywhere, and buildings that seem to be alive and have people involved in them. And yes, this is a factory game, but no, it's not just going to be a citywide factory. Not only are we going to have tall business buildings that you might find in a downtown setting, but of course we'll have industrial sectors that will have complexes like this. We'll have warehousing sectors that would house assembly factories. We'll have commercial districts where we'll have shop fronts and strip malls. And most importantly, we'll have residential, because you can't have a living city if you don't have workers. Now, obviously, we are the only person on the planet. We don't actually have workers. But it doesn't mean we can't represent workers in a sort of metaphorical way. Now, again, we are pretty strict about form and function, which means in residential areas where we build entire neighborhoods, the buildings must work. There will be some wasted space, obviously, for architectural purposes, but the houses will produce. And I want to show you how that's going to represent a population adding to the production and viability of a city. So first, let's turn on this house. Now you see the house has a little chimney. We may or may not always do that, but it's a nice touch, right? a little bit of smoke coming out of it there. But what we're going to aim for here is, well, you can probably already see it. You see how this conveyor is conspicuously hiding in the road? This is an opportunity for us to sort of metaphorically represent the production that is supplied by workers. Now, I don't want to get all into Marxism and how the workers control production. This is not a series about philosophy or ideology. It's just a game. We're here to have fun. But what we can do is have production come out of the houses and work their way down the road. And this will represent the flow of personnel and traffic and how the neighborhood is contributing to the greater goal. And I absolutely love this. We'll be able to metaphorically visualize the different levels of interaction between our different zones. You can kind of think of this as a minimalist logistics game, where you might see supply or product icons on a mini map flowing down the road. And we can take this much further. Not only can we do this with a neighborhood, but if we do a shop front in a commercial district, let's say an electronics shop that is selling circuit boards, we can also have the circuit boards being transported out and down the road to represent customers shopping at the store and purchasing product. Now, this certainly is going to create some challenges because we are experienced at this game and we know that late game takes up a lot of space. Machines get very large, and of course a house cannot hope to contain a manufacturer or a refinery. So there will be a number of cases where we'll break with one of our traditions. You see, in Pixel Perfect Season 1, we did our best to stay to the ground and follow the terrain because I'm really not a big fan of floating platforms. However, in order to see this vision to fruition, I think we're going to have to do a fair amount of these little raised platforms. And so we're going to cover a lot of the terrain because that will give us false floor areas that we can stash machines and we can run conveyors between buildings without them being seen above ground and distracting from the appearance of the area. Additionally, as we showed in the beginning, we will be using a number of mods to give ourselves options for placing foliage and various things inside the buildings, doormats, just all kinds of stuff. There are a number of mods out there. I'm still exploring all of them and deciding which ones I want to use within the series. But this allows us to add a lot of detail that we wouldn't be able to otherwise. But the buildings, for the most part, we are going to keep with this kind of idea. I love that we're not trying to make actual fake grass, but we're instead using foundations that we can color. And so it's almost mechanical, which again, this is a factory game. It's kind of that way, right? It's a way of blending the idea with the reality. So I'm a big fan of this, and we're going to continue to do this and just dot some foliage around in it to create that contrast. Now, I did mention that we will have some additional mods that we didn't use in the previous run. Mostly it's going to be decorative, but I'll continue to assess if there's anything else we might want to add. The one thing we will not do is run any mods that change the core game. Nothing's going to change the recipes. We're not going to disable power. This is still going to be satisfactory from start to finish, functionally the same as if it had no mods. Now, I cannot express just how excited I am for this series to get going, for us to start building all these beautiful things, and for us to bring this vision to life. Of course, in the first few episodes, we won't be able to do these things because we won't have the foundations unlocked and all the things that we need tickets for in order to build the buildings properly, but all of that will happen eventually. So give me a few episodes before we can start really going ham with the theme. And I have other huge plans. The hub is going to be fantastic. I have all these plans for our warehousing scheme and how our train network is going to work. I'm going to create something of a logistical nightmare just to challenge myself and see what I can get away with. But all of that will be in a future episode. We'll talk about that when we get closer to being able to make those things a reality. So I hope that you have stuck with me through this introduction to Season 2. I hope you're at least partially as excited as I am to see how this is all going to come together. And I would really love hearing some comments from you guys about your anticipation of this, what you think of this idea, and if there's anything you would like to see as we go along. Like any other content creator, comments make this worth doing because it's a way we connect with our viewers. So I hope I've at least earned your thumbs up, maybe a subscription if you haven't. I will also quickly point out that we do have a community Discord. We even have a Patreon. And once again, if you're new here, welcome, welcome. If you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. And I cannot wait to see you in the next episode. If you enjoyed this, you may want to check out one of these other videos. And thank you very much for your time.